Ahmed, before you go, I have a few questions I'd like you to help us address. Now, your speech has touched on all the levels and all the questions that we have listed, one way or the other. But I would like you to throw more emphasis on what the youth themselves can begin to do now to help change, begin the change that we are looking for. Because somebody need to start something right now. And those who were with us on the first day, Barrister Nairo from Tanzania called on the rising generations of Africa to begin to learn now personal development, grow themselves from different areas of life, not just the foreign education given to us on how to obey. So, what can you recommend for the African generation right now they can begin to do to cause change, the change that we are looking for?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The African generation, that is, there is a saying which says that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. So if the youth of Africa recognize that they are leaders of tomorrow, then they must begin to partake in positions of leadership now. And the youth should also know that the leadership which they are be taking on must be not a kind of partisan interest thing, but a common interest thing. Youths must not be without you should partake in youth programs and see how they can create an impact, and also let the programs create an impact on them. The
Okay,
African youth,
go
the
ahead, go ahead.
African youth also should also begin to engage in job creation. Yeah, I know that our education system is a failure. Yeah, the education system is a failure. That's why in my own country, Cameroon, for you to get into public service, you need to go through, especially in the administrative part of the public service, you must go through a school called ENAM or stuff like this. But it's not working for the country. It's not working for us, because if you're been to school, why would you need to go to another kind of school to be trained to do stuff like that? Why don't this not just recommended in universities, where you can leave from these universities to this place of work? Now, we need to, as African youth, shy away from the thoughts, the kind of thinking of the old people in power now. We need to observe how our leaders, no, I dare not call them leaders, our rulers are in power now, and need to observe their own weaknesses and their strengths, and look for opportunities to make progress out of that. Knowing that charity begins at home, in our little corners of work, let us portray goodwill, so that by whatever time, anytime when we find ourselves in positions of leadership, perhaps the president of the country and whatsoever, we would be able to understand how the African, to understand how leadership is to be. Let the African youth not let us be dynamic in our thoughts. Let us observe leadership not just in Africa, but in Europe and the America. Observe how they are progressing, and learn to copy good examples. Because our leaders today, what baffles me with African leaders today is that when they are sick, they go to Europe and the America, and all everything they do go to Europe and America, but they never learn to they never tend to ask themselves this question, that what's happening in Europe and America, that they are growing like this. So African youth should also begin to ask questions. Let us liberate our mind. Let us not be so static in our thoughts, but dynamic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Ahmed, that have been very, very great. And I'm minded to bring you back to the point where you said the African youth need to begin to participate. And there's a question that was asked by one of our viewers, Amos Adiku. He said, um, how do young people get a clean slate when party nomination forms for political offices? How do the youth raise such money, such outrageous amounts of money? Let me explain this a little bit. I don't know how it is in Cameroon, but in Nigeria, they to become a president, I think you need to pay 50 million naira to buy just the form, or is it 25 million? I don't know for sure. To become a governor, 10 million. I think a member of the House of Federal House, some 2 point something million. Someone who is going to the State House of Assembly, about 500,000, a million or something like that. And these are money that is not available to the young people. And do you have any thoughts how young people can get away from, this kind of stumbling block of having to raise so huge amount of money in order to participate in politics? Is there any idea you have of what they can do that can help them?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now, the aspect of raising such huge amounts of money for for Afro youths to partake in positions of leadership, be it at the legislative or the Senate, is something which I personally do not support. In Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not different from the Republic of Cameroon here. To go into president, to be, I think you need to get the 30 million for the form or whatsoever. Yeah, I do not support it. So this is what I instead suggest the youth do. Youth need to support each other to be able to get into positions where we'll need to stop this. Yeah. And also the youth need to desist from the mindset of corruption, and to get into these positions of leadership, we would need to pay such an amount of money. That's true. Yes. But if African youth can come together, work for the benefit of Africa, knowing that the cause is for a common interest and not for partisan interest, then we will be able to raise such an amount of money. But the question with Africa is that unity, that aspect of trust is lacking. Yeah, and that alone is frustrating Africans from progressing, because a lot of questions will be asked. Even with these economic blocks, there's no unity there. Here in CEMAC, the CEMAC region, that's the Central African economic stuff like that. The Equatorial Guineans and the Cameroonians, last time they were even tried, because the unity in Africa is not working. It's not different from tribalism and all this stuff. So there'll be a lot of questions. Yeah. So we need to realize that we are having the aspect of Pan-Africanism, which says that all people of the African continent and the Africans in diaspora have a common heritage and a common destiny. No, we have to realize that we have a common problem, and we must come together to see to it that we can alleviate or move from this problem.
That point that you made is, you said the African youth need to unite to be able to do this, to be able to raise that kind of money. But my thought is that kind of money itself is corruption. If a man brings that kind of money to buy a mayor form, how much money is he going to use for campaign? And then if he now have to spend so much money to campaign and before he wins or she wins, then how he going to office will be to recover the money. So in my mind, that is like corruption. Um, uh, Amos, who asked the question that we are responding to in our last broadcast, said that he said that, hey, the only way that, in fact, it is wrong for the African youth to think about joining the political parties where these old people are. He wants the African youth to remember that they are already 60% of the population of each of these countries, which means they can always win elections landslide. All they need is what you said in passing as we are closing now. If the young people are united, if they have unity, they can form their own political parties, and then so that to be nominated, you don't need to clear your stomach of every liquid inside it to get the money you need to be able to
Excuse me,
participate.
sir.
Yes.
Yeah, but you looking at, I don't know how things are done in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'll use the Republic of Cameroon as an example. Looking at Cameroon, to be able to create a political party is one thing. Yeah. To also be able to have a seat, is it in Senate or in at the legislative, that's the Parliament House, is another thing. Yeah. So what I'm suggesting, if you listen keenly to what I said, is this, that I do not support that money should be paid for
Yes,
leadership.
that is
Yeah,
the
I
point.
do not support it. Yeah, but the aspect of it is that, how do we as youths get there? Now, I said, how do we as youths get there in positions, in these positions? We must stand for one another and ensure that somebody gets there to speak for the youth. Because as it is, these guys do not care about us. They have encouraged poverty in Africa so that they know that we Africans, we are poor. We cannot provide for ourselves. And what then do? We need to demand. And this is a whole system which has been set by the Europe and the Americans, so that when you are poor and you have the skills of leadership and you are interested in politics, they will come and sponsor you, and you have to do what they want, not what you intend to do as a leader of your country. And that's what we have here. So that I do not support it. Yeah, I do not
Okay.
support it. It's like you are trading your conscience for power, and it's
Exactly.
not even like it is. Yeah, that's what we have here. Yeah. So the only thing which African youths can do, right, is for them to come together, stand together, support each other, knowing that somebody is going there to make the voice of the Africans heard.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate every bit of your comment. They have been very, very reasonable. They are on point. And one of our people who is in the studio, behind the studio, waiting for his chance, made a comment that said, Ahmed, thank you for the points you have made. They are great. And we appreciate your being at this conference today. And thank you very much for these contributions you have made. Please stay tuned to the conference. Invite your friends to the conference. In due course, we will cut out your side of this conference and send it to you, and you can share it more to excite other rising generations in your country or in your contact list to be able to participate in what we are doing, which is to raise consciousness in the rising generation through this African Youth Conference on the theme, the African Leadership Question, Problems and Prospects. Thank you very much, Ahmed. We appreciate your coming.